Lighting is everything, and if you can't light well, you're not gonna have a good shot. So having solid lighting is vital, and it can also be very pricey. But today, we're gonna look at a budget-friendly 60-watt Bicolor LED light, and we're gonna look at the features, the price, the performance, and if it's a good investment for you.
Could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy.
Before we get started, just a disclaimer, I was sent this video for the purposes of making a review, but I'm not getting paid. They don't get to see this video or have any feedback before I publish it, and all of the thoughts and opinions in this video are completely my own. So I'm actually using this light now as a key light right here. And if you've seen any of my videos, if you keep up with this channel, or you've seen any videos that I've done in this studio space, it does look a little bit different than normal, and I'll talk about why that is in a little bit. But the light itself is small. It's obviously designed to be compact and portable, and even the mounting system on there, I'm pretty impressed with because it's sturdy and works well and is really easy, but also folds up really well to be able to fit in a pretty compact spot with the whole setup being very small and light. The first thing that stuck out to me on this light is the mount. It's not Bowen's mount, which is probably the most well-known mount for prosumer level of light modifiers. It is a proprietary mount to Weeylite, and the light does come with an included reflector dish. It's not the best reflector dish, but it is small, and again, in theme with this light being very small and compact and portable, it is a small portable reflector dish, so it lends itself to that design style. It's not going to be my favorite reflector dish, but it can definitely work. Now for the proprietary mount, there's currently only one softbox available as far as modifiers go, and for me, that's not great. Now, I will say, if you are just looking for one very small portable system that's easy to take around, and having this smaller softbox and the light, and that's all you need, is going to work for you, and the portability of it is a plus, that can be, again, a good thing that works out for you in that specific situation. And I do think that is kind of what this is aimed towards. I like having more options as far as light modifiers go. I also like using bigger light modifiers, and the proprietary mount side is a downside for me as far as this light goes. However, I will say that it does come with, and there is available, a Bowen's mount adapter, and the Bowen's mount adapter is keeping in line with the design style of this, small and lightweight, which is nice for portability again, but it's also very plasticky because of that, and it's not going to be able to support a ton of weight. So something like my 38-inch softbox that I typically use in here for this shot, it's just not going to be able to support that on there. And again, that's not something that goes along with probably what this light is aimed at, because it's a large modifier. It's not particularly portable. And that's actually the reason why this shot in here looks different than what I normally am doing in here. Although I do actually kind of like how the shot looks. I would typically be using that bigger modifier, and this time I have to use a slightly smaller modifier. It's not a super small modifier. It's still like a 33-inch softbox, but there's only one layer of diffusion in this one, and that makes it smaller and more lightweight. Just a different look. Again, I like the look, just different because of the limitation of how much weight this mount and adapter can support. Another limitation with this mount adapter is that the actual Bowen's mount receiver on it is a little bit small. So it's a pretty universal mount, the Bowen's mount, which means there are a lot of different styles within that and shapes a little bit within that from different manufacturers. And something like the reflector dish that comes standard with the Godox SL60W light has a really chunky insert part of the Bowen's mount, and that doesn't fit on this adapter that's included with the Weeylite at all. So if you're trying to switch between different modifiers, you are again slightly limited on that. Now, most of my Bowens mount stuff fits completely fine on there without any issue as far as the receiver going in. It was just that Godox modifier that I had issues with. Now, I want to point out again, that is not necessarily a deal breaker for the target audience of this light, which is having a compact portable setup, because things like large modifiers and bringing a bunch of different modifiers doesn't really go along with the theme of compact and portable. So if you're looking at this light setup for being compact and portable, that's probably okay. If you're looking at it for setting up in your studio or something like that and being able to switch out a bunch of different modifiers, then that again can be a limiting factor. And this is a bicolor LED light, and it has a Kelvin temperature range from 2800 to 6800 Kelvin, which is a solid range for something at this price point. And it is kind of cool because it has some effects, and what it does is, in some of the effects that would typically use RGB, which this doesn't have any RGB capabilities, but because of that wide Kelvin temperature range, for things like, for instance, a firework effect or like a loop of different colors, it kind of fakes that and simulates that by going from really cool temperatures to really warm temperatures. So things like fire effects, candlelight effects, even things like, again, the firework effect that would usually use different colors. Not as well as an RGB light, obviously, but you do have the option with it faking that. And I think that's pretty creative and pretty cool that you can do that if you need it to. And then, of course, it's going to do fine with any CCT-based effects like camera flashes or a light bulb blinking, that kind of thing. Now, because this is from Weeylite, it also uses the Weeylite app, which I've said before is my favorite light control app. It does have a couple quirks and bugs and things, and I'll link a video here of the first Weeylite review that I did and more in-depth thoughts about my app. But what I will say is that everything I need and want from the Weeylite app works very quickly, very easily, and very intuitively. Now, one interesting thing is the name of this light is the Ninja 200, and when I first saw it, I thought that meant 200 watts, and it was going to be a competitor to something like the Aperture Amaran 200D, 200X line. It's actually 60 watts, so it's not a competitor to that. It's more a competitor to something like the bicolor version of the Godox SL60 line. And I did initially test it against the Aperture Amaran just to see the differences in the 200 watt and the 60 watt. Obviously, that's an unfair comparison. The 200 watt's going to be much brighter. Then I also did a test with the SL60W from Godox, and brightness, they're pretty similar. An advantage that the Godox has is that the Godox has a much better reflector dish, but it's also much bigger. It's going to be less portable. Again, that's kind of the deal with this light, is the compact portability. And again, I can't even use the Godox reflector on this Weeylite, so I did use the Aperture reflector on there, which is a little bit better than this one, and that helped a bit. But the Godox reflector is just a better reflector. So that's going to make the Godox look even more powerful than it is. Realistically, they're pretty similar in output, but of course you have way more features in this Weeylite because of, first of all, being bicolor and being able to use it at different temperatures, then also the app control and all of the effects that are in there as well. Another huge benefit for the portability of this Weeylite is that it's actually capable of being battery powered, and the kit that I got came with the battery pack so that you can power it with NP style batteries. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to test this because I don't have a lot of accessories that use NP style batteries, and the ones that I do, I don't use very often. And unfortunately, the last NP batteries I had just like crapped out. They were pretty cheap batteries, and so I didn't have anything to test this with. But that ability to do that is, I think, for a lot of people in this target audience, going to be a huge deal. Now, overall, I think this is an interesting option for the right person. If you are looking for the biggest bang for your buck, you're fine with daylight balance only, and you just want the most power output for the money, then I would say look probably more at something like the Aputure Amran 200D. If you are just looking for the best 60 watt light as far as power output for the lowest price and you're fine with daylight balance only, then I would say maybe the Godox SL60W. But if you are looking for something that is compact and portable, that you can take on the go, has a battery system available, that has the things like a few effects built in, the app control, if you need bicolor, you need to be able to be flexible with the temperature of light that you're using, then if you fit the bill for what the target audience is for this, this is a really interesting, really solid option. Again, this isn't going to be for every solution, for every body type of light. There isn't really something that does that at this price point, but for the price and what you get, if this is the thing that you need, it covers your needs, then I do think that it is a really solid option. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. In the comments below, let me know what you think about this light. Have you used this before? What lighting are you using or are you looking into? If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button so that you can get notified of all the videos that I put out on this channel. If you are interested in this light or any of the other gear that I've mentioned, I'll have affiliate links in the description down below. If you purchase through those at no extra cost to you, it'll help support this channel so that I can continue making videos for you guys. Thanks. See ya.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and repel any hate, go create what you want, feel compelled, yeah.